Do you think the issues that are important to you are different to the rest of Greater Mancunians because you're first-time voters?
I think definitely the university fees is the most important issue for us. Like, as he said, £25,000 of debt.
A lot of money.
Puts a lot of people going to university. And I think I heard something about a possible tax that all graduates pay after they come back from university. So they don't actually come out with debt, they pay a tax for the rest of their life. I think that would have a big impact on people. They wouldn't actually have the burden on the shoulders of a debt after university. So I think, what would the parties have to say about that? Like, would they propose this tax? Or
the graduate tax, I think it's a system that's operated in Australia at the moment, as opposed to, you know, incurring a massive debt before you start work. You then pay off the fees as you do work. Well, Dr. Russell, it is a system in Australia, am I right?
It's also effectively what we have in Scotland, and it's actually not that different from what we have currently, because the students themselves don't pay the top-up fees. The loan company pays the top-up. The loan pays the top-up fee. It gets added to their debt, and then they start paying back the debt when they earn a certain amount of money. But that said, I mean, I think it's a huge issue, the idea of accruing more and more debt. And it does make people feel very uncomfortable for what used to be a free service, and it does lead to a kind of a sense of elitism, and it makes young people feel very uncomfortable about accruing more debt. There are very few constituencies that are predicated on young people's votes, but we do have a few of them here. Withington actually was one of them, and the last time round, Liberal Democrats had a distinctive policy on university tuition fees, which is perhaps a little less distinctive.
Well, it's changed at party level. I'm not sure it's changed on an individual level, has it, John?
Well, actually, it hasn't changed at party level. It's still party policy to end tuition fees. What the debate is whether or not it will end up in the manifesto.
Are you sure? That's not what I heard in Bournemouth.
Absolutely, it is still party policy to scrap tuition fees. Whatever anyone says, it's still party policy.
And what Nick Clegg and Vince Cable say, they're the people who we listen to.
No, actually, that's not what the leader said at all. It is still party policy. It's whether or not it ends up in the manifesto. If I was a betting man, I would say it will end up in the manifesto, that we will still have a commitment to scrap tuition fees.
What about the Labour Party's policy on this, Mr Stringer?
Well, the Labour Party introduced it. It undoubtedly helped the Lib Dems in those seats where there were a large number of students. I spent a lot of the last 12 months going around universities talking to students, actually, as a member of the select committee. What really surprises me is that, I mean, I've talked to hundreds probably, very few of them see it as an issue now. And I don't think it will be an issue at the general election, because all the three parties will remain either committed to that or a slight variation of it, of a graduate tax. It is effectively a graduate tax, because when your salary after graduating reaches a certain level, you start paying back the loan, not before, and it's a very fine line between that.
We can't go back to where we were. The public finances don't support grants in the way they used to.
Not unless you go back to only 10 or 15, 20% of young people going to universities. While you've got 40% of people going to universities, then there has to be a contribution comes from somewhere else.
OK, very briefly, Susan, the Tories' view on this, because I want to move on.
Graham's right. Since tuition fees have been introduced, there has been an increase in the uptake of people going to university, not a decrease. Despite the fears from the students in the audience. They were originally introduced because it was felt that the working class was subsidising the middle class who went to university, and in that sense it actually has been the right thing to do. I do think John needs to go and listen to his leader's speech again, because all three parties will be keeping tuition fees.
There is a technical difference between party policy and what ends up in the manifesto. I'm prepared to concede that, John, but I suspect he won't end up in the manifesto. Let's move on, because I know Dr Chand wants to raise a point here. Not a health point, but sort of related to the first-time voters. Dr Chand.